You know, when you get to your 40s, life changes. The things that used to bother you don't quite bother you anymore. The people you once cared about and their opinions just don't matter. That is where I was mentally when I first had my Dogman encounter. I had reached that age where I just didn't give a flying flip about what people thought, and frankly, I acted like it. I was making $234,000 a year, living my life and having fun. A sidebar note. Around that same time, the school reunion was rolling around. And you know how it is, that stress of seeing people that you haven't seen in years started to pile up. And it was right then and there in that moment that I realized I had changed. Now, I'm pretty sure you're saying to yourself, what in the hell does your high school reunion have to do with your Dogman encounter? Frankly, nothing other than the fact that I was on my way home from my reunion when I saw it, but nonetheless, I'm going to tell you everything. I remember the days leading up to my reunion. My wife was stressing about the outfit she was going to wear. And I just said, screw it. I'm wearing jeans, a button-up shirt, and a sports coat. We're not going to try and put on airs for people we don't even know. But I need you to understand, the old me, the younger man, I cared what people thought about me. I cared deeply about what people felt. It ruled my life, constantly trying to present the right package to gain acceptance, to feel included. If you're younger than 40, let me explain something to you. Don't do that to yourself. No, sir. Just be you. Be the best version of you that you can be. And if that ain't good enough for people, then screw them. Anyway, my wife and I go to the reunion, walk in the door, and understand I graduated with a class of almost 1,000 people. And hell, I didn't recognize anyone in the room. Over the years, I had kept in contact with one or two people. One guy in particular that I really liked, Larry, was always cool, so I'm looking for him. When up walks this guy screaming my name, Jason, Jason, oh, it's so good to see you. And this must be your wife. Wow, what a beautiful woman. Now stop right here and pause for a moment and listen. You know how it is when you meet a salesperson and they have that freaky, over-the-top salesman voice, way too excitable. Their tone is ear-piercing. And you know without a doubt, they're about to sell you a load of BS. Combine that with the fact that I didn't even recognize this man at all, the situation quickly became uncomfortable. My wife is looking at me and he is acting like we know each other, so I simply cut him off and say, you gotta forgive me, but I don't remember you. And that giant salesman smile on his face drops and turns into a frown. And he says, Brian, I'm Brian Flanagan. We played baseball together, Jason. You don't remember me? Now, my mind is racing, images are flashing into my mind, and nope, I got nothing. Now listen, I really wanted to pretend like I knew this man, but I decided that was a bad idea. So I didn't. I said, nope, Brian, I'm sorry, I've got nothing, I don't remember you. Well, that led to him going and get 3 other people who all tried to make me remember them. This went on for the first hour and a half of the reunion. People trying to make me remember them. Before finally I bumped into my old friend Larry, and then that's when a good time started. Larry's wife and my wife hit it off. Now we're all dancing, enjoying ourselves. The night rolls on and we catch up with a few more friends. And overall, that reunion was a success in my mind. I had fun, my wife had fun, and most importantly, I was myself. Not some fake wannabe a-hole pretending to be someone that I'm not. Well, we get in the car and start to head home. And it's a 2-hour ride from our house to the school. And for the first hour, I'm still chatting on the phone with Larry. My wife is sleeping and snoring in the passenger seat as I drive. As it's now 11:30, 11:35, and her bedtime is 8:45. Guys, you know how it is. Our wives love to go to bed early. Well, I get off the phone with Larry because he's made it home, and I'm driving down the road when I see what looks like a giant bear laid out in the road with his butt facing me. So I turn on the high beams and start to slow down. And frankly, all I see is a hairy ass in the road. So I come to a complete stop about 35 yards away, high beams on. And that's when I get a real good glimpse at it. It's something down on all fours, its butt is in the air, and you can see its head moving back and forth. Now, I need you to understand something about where I live. We don't have any bears in this area. But from behind, this thing looked like a gigantic. In my mind, I'm saying to myself, why is there a bear in the middle of the road making love to the concrete? Because that's exactly what it looked like. Well, I guess this thing finally realized after about a minute that my headlights was shining on it, because in one motion it leaps straight up into the air, spins around like a freaking Autobot, twisting its body and landing on two legs. And this ain't no bear. It's brown like a bear. It's got mangy, tangled fur like a bear, but it has a short snout, two pointy ears, and one that looked like a portion of it had been sliced off or bitten off. And I imagine the scene is right there in that moment where it's looking at me, I'm looking at it, where my wife decides she's going to wake up and she's got a little bit of an attitude, saying, babe, how far are we from home? Why are we stopped in the middle of the road? And the entire time she's talking, she's looking at me. But then she turns and looks out the front windshield and loses her stuff. Starts to scream, hops in the back seat. Now she's hitting me in the back of the head, telling me to drive, drive, drive. Now listen to me when I say this to you. Up to that point, I wasn't exactly calm, but I wasn't caught up in irrational fear. I was just kind of shocked at what I was seeing. But as she started to scream and lose her stuff, I start to panic. Now I'm reaching down to put the car in reverse, and when I look up, it's gone. Now, I'm not sitting here telling you there was like missing time or anything, but I'm gonna tell you what I exactly remember seeing, because I took it all in. I soaked it all in. Then I asked my wife if she saw the same thing. Before I looked down to put that vehicle in reverse, it was there, standing in the middle of the road. You can see blood on the concrete behind it and what looked like a deer carcass in the middle of the road. Now, when I look back up, and I only looked down for a split second, not only is it gone, but whatever it was eating is gone, and there's just blood in the middle of the road. Now, I've been thinking about this over the years, and I come to the conclusion that there's only three options as to what could have happened. Number one, either these things move as fast as people say they do. Number two, it put me and my wife in some kind of trance. Or our minds just broke. I mean, just completely broke, and we could no longer see or comprehend what was going on. But what I do know to be true is that when we looked at that roadway, it was gone, the deer carcass was gone, and the only thing left there was fragments of blood, flesh, and bone right there on the road. Everything else was gone.